Well, here we go. It's the best football show, and I'm your host, Brian Baldinger, at Baldy NFL. Wherever you get your podcast, download this Odyssey podcast for free. Like it, subscribe it, all that kind of good stuff. Let's get to it. I mean, why wait? It's the kickoff of Week 8. Here we are. We're almost through the halfway point. We kicked it off tonight, Thursday night. The Rams at 2-4, playing host to the Minnesota Vikings, 5-1, coming off their first loss. Let's get to this game because it's a fascinating game. Record-wise, just throw them out. These records don't mean anything right now. All that matters is how you play tonight and how you execute tonight. That's all that matters. And both teams are capable of executing at a high level. Let's face it. Kevin O'Connell, the head coach of Minnesota, comes right out of Sean McVay's system. I mean, they were together in Washington with Mike Shanahan. They were together with the Rams. They know each other very, very well. Not that really interferes with the game at all. They're both play callers, excellent play callers. They both have very experienced. Well, one has a very experienced quarterback, and one is getting great experience in Sam Darnold in Minnesota. One thing that I'm really looking at tonight is I'm a big fan of Kyron Williams. Last year, in the second season, but first full season of being healthy, I mean, we know that Christian McCaffrey led the league in rushing. But Kyron Williams led the leagues in rushing yards per game because he was injured a few games. He averaged over 100 yards a game. Like right now, he's tied with Derrick Henry with 8 rushing touchdowns. He had 2 last week. The only 2 touchdowns that the Rams scored against the Raiders. Kyron scored both of them, one from 14 yards, one from 2. He's an excellent player. You know, you look at the Minnesota Vikings now, and I've given Brian Flores all kinds of credit, the defense coordinator of the Vikings. He's been phenomenal. He's played most of the season with the lead where he can really get after teams that are one-dimensional. Well, Detroit didn't let them get one-dimensional last week. Jahmyr Gibbs had a big day. Montgomery, they ran the ball very well against the Minnesota Vikings. I want to say the Rams will. The Rams are starting a rookie center in Bo Limmer, a 6th-round pick. They're starting a rookie free agent left guard who played very well last week. I think his name is Delsich, 67. He played very well. One thing I love about the Rams, you could make excuses that Cooper Kupp's been hurt and Puka Nacua, all this stuff. All that's true. They don't make any excuses. They had all kinds of injuries in the offensive line. All they do is insert the next guy, coach him up. And by golly, this is a team that got a lot better in the second half of the season last year and found their identity. Kyron Williams gave him a big lift. Stafford is always going to be competitive, always. No matter how banged up he gets, like he just gives you a chance. Watch out for Jordan Whittington. You know, 6th round. They had 4 6th-round picks. They're all playing. They're all looks like they're good players. The Vikings are a better all-around team. Justin Jefferson. They've got star power. Aaron Jones, the left tackle, is elite. You know, they've got all kinds of guys on defense. Andrew Van Ginkel's got 2, interceptions returned for touchdowns, on and on and on. Stephon Gilmore's been the defensive player of the year. They got star power all over the place. This is going to be a fun game, though, because the Rams know the division, okay? They lost a tough game, a couple weeks ago to the Arizona Cardinals and found a way to beat the Raiders. They're treading water at 2-4, but if they win against a good team with as many young players as they have along the defensive line, offensive line. They're very young. But Pete Carroll told me a long time ago, he believed in playing his young players, and Sean McVay does too. And the thing about young players is this: if they're the right people, if they're the right players, they might make mistakes early and you might get beat early. But if they're the right people, they're going to help you win late. And I feel like this is a Rams team that's going to get better as the season goes on. But that's the big matchup tonight for me is, can Kyron Williams, can kind of control this game on the ground and give them enough of a run game where Stafford's got some play action passes. They've got some thing off run action. And it really gets Minnesota out of their blitz looks. Like that's going to be key because if they let Brian Flores play with a big lead, 10 points or more, and Stafford drops back to throw it more than he wants to, and they can't balance things up, it's going to be a long day for the Rams, because that's Brian Flores. Like, he will design pressures, blitzes, get free hitters to the quarterback. He's been doing it all year. They've been very good. Jonathan Greener's been a great pickup. You know, they rebuilt their whole defensive front. Pat Jones has been great. Josh Metellus just plays all over the place. These are some of the guys, I think, that you're going to look at tonight. So that's sort of my preview of Thursday Night Football tonight. It's going to be a fun one. The one game that has me really intrigued for this weekend is Philadelphia at Cincinnati, because I think everybody thought they would have a better record than they have right now. They'd be further along. Remember, Nick Sirianni in the last 2 years, has started off 8-0 and 10-0. In the 8-0 year, they got all the way to the Super Bowl. Last year at 10-0, they collapsed, and we know how the season finished. However, both teams are coming off back-to-back wins. You can argue, both teams beat the New York Giants. Philadelphia beat them last week handily. Cincinnati struggled with them. But they both have played similar games, They both played Cleveland, both played the Giants, both beat those teams. Joe Burrow is playing great football. He's throwing 14 touchdowns against 2 interceptions. They're getting healthier on defense. I remember a game this year, week 2, against Kansas City. At one point in the fourth quarter, they were down to 2 defensive tackles. Well, since then, B.J. Hill's gotten healthy. Sheldon Rankins is back in the starting lineup. Miles Murphy is back playing. Like, a lot of guys that were hurt early are out playing now. And then, offensively, look, they've only scored 2 touchdowns in each of the last 2 games. It's not like Jamar Chase is killing people right now. He's not the last 2 weeks, but he's got the capability of it. And Philadelphia, defensively, look, they're giving up less than 20 points a game. And this is with rookies playing in new spots and a new linebacking core. Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond, they played well. Last week, the pass rush was unleashed against the Giants. So, and Cincinnati has lost 4 games in a row at home. Now, I've been in the jungle this year. That place rocks. It's a hell of a home field. But they've lost their last 4 games at home. They know that. The fans know that. I feel like whoever wins this game is really back on track. Cincinnati gets into they get back right now with 3 wins in a row. Even though they dug themselves a deep crypt early in the year, lost some games they probably shouldn't have lost to Kansas City and Baltimore. They get back into the playoff mix. Philadelphia wins. As good as Washington has been, we'll see what Dallas does against San Francisco Sunday night. I feel like the road to the NFC East is still going to go through Philadelphia. Now, the quarterback, Jalen Hurts, has to play better. Outside of a big 41-yard touchdown pass to A.J. Brown last week, he didn't play very well. They ran the ball. Saquon had a big day. Kenneth Gainwell had a big day. I think this is a game where Jalen Hurts, okay, and I know quarterbacks don't play against each other. I'm not trying to simplify the game that much, but I feel like whoever gets the best quarterback play in this game is going to win this game and win their 3rd in a row. And I think everybody in each building, the noise about Nick Sirianni and some of the decisions he's made against the Saints and against Cleveland and some of the things he's done, it might kind of go away. And then for Cincinnati, Lou Anarumo was under a lot of heat early. They were off to another bad start. I'm sure Zach Taylor's name was coming up as, do they make a change? I feel like the noise around whoever wins this 3rd game in a row, the noise kind of dissipates. However, if the Eagles go up to Cincinnati and they don't play well, there's some poor decisions that get made in that loss, I feel like Nick Sirianni's name is going to get right back in the news and it's going to get loud. And in Philadelphia, it's hard to stop it, and it's hard not to listen. I live there. I lived through it. I've been in that organization. I played for that team. Like, that noise gets really loud. So I feel like this is a pivotal game for both teams. If I had to kind of look, I feel like Cincinnati is poised to play their best game of the season. I'm not saying Philadelphia can't win it. They certainly can. I feel like this is Cincinnati's game this weekend. I feel like they're getting back on track. I saw Joe Burrow 3 weeks ago, and he was just in that zone against Baltimore. And he has come out and said this year, like, I got to play perfect. It's on me. He's no problem putting all the blame and all the pressure on him. Like, that's how he's wired. And he doesn't mean like I got to go out and be 25 for 25 perfect. I just got to, I got to convert my third downs. We got to score in the red zone. We've got to play with the lead, help my defense. Like, he just knows his role. And I'm not saying Jalen Hurts doesn't. This is a game that has me heavily intrigued. All right, everybody, that's been the Best Football Show. Come join me tomorrow afternoon as I break down week 8 and Thursday Night Football right here tomorrow on the Best Football Show.